Hello, I'm Eric Herson, part of SAS's global security intelligence practice. My role is a principal industry consultant, helping client organizations as well as SAS regions, including SAS Columbia, obtain what they need to do a better job in promoting our financial crimes solution. Well, first, I'd like to just spend a moment talking about what our practice does. My co-presenter, Hobson, and I spend our time focused on the banking sector. But it's important for people to realize that SAS has solutions that serve many other industry verticals, including government to help with waste, fraud, and abuse. We do a lot with anti-money laundering controls, as well as fraud for financial services. But there's a whole list of other projects that we take on with the insurance industry. We also help industries of all types with what we call procurement integrity, understanding the chain of events surrounding invoicing and billing. And we help with internal fraud, know your employee type of obligations. So very simply, when I ask that question, there are multiple answers. But first and foremost, we look carefully at what our clients are trying to do. And fraudsters of all types are very, very aggressive. They also have bills to pay. So the ever increasing frequency of attacks is something that not only are we aware of, we spend a great deal of time educating our customers on how to put controls in place to do a better job of identifying what needs to be done in many situations in real time to stop the great advances that the fraudsters. The answer to that is that fraud is no longer really the issue. When clients ask us of what's new, we talk about, well, it's really no longer a fraud problem. It's an issue of being able to authenticate and verify and validate that you are indeed the person at the end of the phone or on the computer. So the game has changed. Why am I talking about this? Because fraudsters are constantly evolving their methods in ways they want to attack our clients. So the world is changing from just focusing on transactions. We're helping our clients focus on events that involve money and events that do not involve money, to start the conversation from how do you accept and validate the risks of a new customer, to every time a customer uses one of your products to be able to authenticate that indeed is a transaction that has limited risk, to before you send out the funds or provide the merchandise, being able to very securely understand what the risks are. So our conversations focus on everything from onboarding new accounts to how do you securely deliver the services that you perceive or you believe people are trying to buy. Changed tremendously. And since I live in the world of banking and financial services, I can talk about how banks have seen change. Since everybody is working from home, there is an incredible amount of volume for what we call non-card present transactions, because people are not physically going, or they weren't going to point of purchase. So that is caused the way that we help our clients address fraud change in terms of the analytics that we apply, in terms of the business logic and rigor that we applied. That's a major change, as well as used to be that people would work and live in the same geography. Now, it's no longer as much of a concern if someone makes, let's say, a purchase from outside of where they used to live. They may have moved because their new work from home office is no longer where it used to be. So the point I'm trying to make here is that we've had to adapt and help our clients adapt to the changing landscapes of both data as well as how their customers are buying or interacting with them. It is not the same world as it was before. That's a great question. First and foremost, SAS is an analytics company. So everything we do is built on a foundation of a solid analytics platform. Analytics are the key for understanding what is normal and what is an aberration. Analytics find the signal in the noise. And without smart math, it would be impossible for a human to see the patterns in the data that machine learning and artificial intelligence can. So that's a long answer saying that almost everything we do is based on analytics, from whether it be any money laundering controls to fraud controls. So math is at the very heart of what we do. We, as a company, Dr. Goodnight, our founder, has pledged $2 billion US. He did this a couple of years ago for further research into artificial intelligence. The learnings from that exercise are being plugged directly into projects like fraud and fraud controls and methods for our clients. And happy to give you more specific examples of this if you'd like. Well, one of the things that we find particularly interesting is in order to run a fraud or AML program, it's very helpful to be able to visualize what's happening and why. So now with analytics are much more than just building a model. Analytics are also tools that can let you see patterns within the data. So there are many examples of this. Let's focus on a potential connection between employees and customers. Analytics can determine these degrees of association, whether it's harmful and whether things like phone numbers are shared between a customer and an employee. Now that doesn't make any sense. That could be an early indicator of some fraudulent activity. So being able to develop these networks visually in close to real time are powerful tools. And that is just one example of the way analytics are being applied. Other examples are things that you can't necessarily see, but analytics are at the heart of making sense of the data before it's being used to develop models. So throughout the chain of fraud and financial crimes controls, once again, at the heart of everything we do is or are analytics of different types. Things that we've learned over time is that analytics cannot be a black box. So we design through very carefully and leverage experience so that both our customers as well as the regulators understand how a model or an analytic device it's making its decisions. So it's transparent. So transparency is at the heart of being able to satisfy the regulatory requirements. A second piece of this, if you're a client of SAS, you want to know whether there is an issue before the regulators become aware. So the solutions that SAS provides the market do a very good job of creating alerts that should be investigated or could be investigated. So things can be cleaned up or taken care of or addressed before there are already regulatory consequences. We have worked very hard as an industry And at SAS, we work very hard to make sure that the solutions we have scale appropriately, both horizontally and vertically, to serve all industry sectors. So let me tell a story. 10 years ago, the SAS and other competitive companies would have probably had to install a big, expensive project that would run on a mainframe or a mid-tier compute stack. Now, thanks to the cloud, the cost of implementing these projects has been reduced significantly. That in itself, the migration to cloud-based architectures, is one of the things that democratizes or levels out the cost of these solutions to make them much more affordable across all industry sectors. Credit is not equally, or funds and income is never equally distributed across society. And we recognize that not all of our customers serve the same societal segments in terms of wealth and with the same products. So it's incumbent upon us. It's very important to SAS and other companies to make sure that fraud controls and anti-money laundering controls are available to serve all of the market, not just the wealthier sides of the market. It's a strategy of what I'll call augmentation or layering what you already have. You asked me a question a moment ago about analytics. So analytics can mean many, many things. Just because you think something is working doesn't naturally mean it is. So when clients say, well, we really don't have anything wrong. However, can you help us do a better job of, I'll use the word forensically understanding, who's beating me and how? How did this fraud take place? Suddenly their eyes open when we say, we can show you how, and we can promote the understanding so that you can learn from your losses and so they won't happen again. The industry has evolved so that projects now have layers of solutions put upon them. So what we do today is more along the lines of that augmentation strategy, helping our clients expand and leverage what they use from SAS in different ways so they can fundamentally not only get a lot of use out of their investments, they can expand the use of investments to other areas. So I'm not answering your question head on, but I'm painting a picture of it's no longer this monolithic world. It's a world of being able to quickly use new architectures, cloud, and other solutions from companies like SAS to be able to holistically look across your enterprise to see who's trying to test your defenses and what can you do to beat them.